Your gender is reversed. What's the first thing you do? Story 1. Put on a dress and just feel pretty. Honestly, it's one of the things I hate about being a male. I would love to be able to just look cute, but that is totally a female thing. Don't think about that the wrong way. Yes, it's slightly sexist, but it's why. It's what I would do it. There's the stigma towards men wearing anything but a shirt and pants or shorts. We can't put on a dress and just look cute or pretty. And if we do, we are looked at bad, most the time. Men are always thought to just wear shirts, shorts, or a suit. Women have so much more variety in their clothing, and I envy them for it. Story 2. I'd hit up the homies, 'cause they've always been there for me and some of them need it bad. Then I'd turn them all against each other by telling each of them they were the best and that I liked them different from the rest. Once our circle starts to implode, I'll bring over a coworker that's had eyes for me for a while and force them to all hang out and compete for me. They must remain civil at all times. If it started to get too tense, I'll get up and scream, "Boys, boys, all this fighting is tearing us apart," and run away crying. Whoever comes to comfort me first gets it that night and is led to believe they are the favorite for a week or so until they are replaced by the first one to stop caring about me. That's the one I'll chase after the hardest. The game ends if I get pregnant. What was the question again? Story 3. Start crying over my horrible luck, because I just had like half of my human rights removed. Stigmas, stereotypes induced on what to wear, what not to, how to behave. Worried about get home quicker and privilege of being a boy removed because I live in India. Peace. It's just kind of annoying to end up choosing to cover up, even when I really just want to wear a cute crop top and a skirt, because some people are incapable of identifying when it is inappropriate, unnecessary, to sexualize someone who's just trying to live their life. Story 4. I'd find a few other women and try to find out why they enjoy so much, when it's their idea. But when it's the man's, they usually act like they're having a wisdom tooth extracted, without an anesthetic. I'd ask how any of them could be so cold as to say, just hurry and get it over with. I've got to mop the kitchen, or something equally as insulting. I'd ask why they sometimes trivialize sex, and yet other times make such a big deal out of it. Then, I'd find a couple lesbians and indulge myself, and after maybe the best of my male friends, or two. Story 5. All the humor aside, you know what you do pretty damn fast? Get to a doctor and say, "Get me back to what I am." And if the doctor said, "But you're a completely normal, healthy man, woman, why do you want to change that?" You'd say, "Because I know what I am inside." It makes me think sympathetically of my trans friend who has long had a hard time of it. Maybe those who like to say that trans people are mentally ill, perverted, etc. would care to think about that too. Story 6. The first thing? Panic. Also, unless everyone's memory has been altered as well, you don't exist in any legal manner. You have no bank account, no credit cards, no driver's license. You might have only days before you are homeless and broke. The only things you can do would be to somehow convince your family that you are an unknown child of one of your parents, assuming your DNA has remained the same when the XY or XX flipped. You could throw yourself on the mercy of the authorities, but you'd likely be locked up in a mental health unit. After all, people don't just wake up in the morning in a different body, do they? Story 7. Probably immediately doing research to find out if this change is permanent or not, and crossing my fingers that the answer is yes, because an overnight transition would be awesome compared to going through surgery and hormones and all, which is what I have planned for the next 2 years after I come out. All I'd have to worry about then is the reveal. "Hey Mom and Dad, I kinda woke up in a new body today. Hopefully you guys can accept me as I am now, as it's permanent, and I'm totally cool with it." Story 8. Buy some fancy dresses, both summer and formal ones. Seriously, to me, it seems like one of the biggest perks of being a woman, that you can wear something that's stunning or cute and be an eye-catcher at day and a princess for a night with the right dress. We men are pretty restricted when it comes to that, as we can only decide what color our suit should be and whether to go with a bow or a normal tie. Story 9. Shopping spree for all the clothes I've always said I would buy. Fancy shirts and ties and vests. And get a hat. As a man, I feel I could totally pull off a hat. Clothes to fit without hips and boobs in the way would be awesome. Join a gym and celebrate the fact I could buff up like nobody's business. And with a set of balls, I'd change my profession and go into carpentry and pick my guitar back up, walking away from office politics forever. Yes, nothing stopping me from doing any of these things as a woman, but I'd totally use the excuse to change my life. Story 10. scream and yell, "Where's my," and then see boob and squish while yelling, "Why do I have," and probably faint, dude, a shock or something, I don't know. If it was a permanent shift, I'd probably spend my next several months to a year in life in an existential nightmare, because I have always wondered what life would be like as a woman, but at the same time, I'm very much so a male, so am I now trans and begin the transition? Or do I try and accept my body and try to go through that whole ordeal? Either way, emotional trauma, and probably the most severe case of imposter syndrome on the planet. Also, bathrooms would be uncomfortable, and I would probably try to use a urinal a few times before realizing I need to sit down to piss, and I can no longer just piss in a bush, semi-carefree. Story 11. You know what sucks more than being a black man? Being a black woman. You know what sucks more than being a black woman? Being a 6'2" black woman with a really deep voice. I'd still debate though. For those who did not understand, I'm actually a 6'2" black man with a really deep voice, and if my gender was reversed, I'd have new struggles awaiting me. I'm not looking to portray myself as miserable because even though I have my struggles, I'm still doing fine. I just wanted to point out that it would be very hard because I'd be a black woman, and I know for a fact that black women have it way harder than black men, and if I kept my actual height and my actual voice, I'd be in for a lot of troubles. Story 12. Rejoice about actually a comfortable school uniform that is not a stupid and uncomfortable dress that is too tight around the waist. That is the summer uniform. The winter uniform is better as it's a shirt and a skirt but still bad, and honestly it would be better if they swapped the uniforms. Also, they recently said that we can't wear the sports jacket, which is quite nice. With a normal uniform because it looks bad, the school is K-12 and there was another uniform for junior school that is probably the best one, the summer one at least, and the winter uniforms could be better. At all. So including the sports uniforms, that is 5 uniforms, my school life up to the senior year with the white shirts, when boys have the same comfy shorts and pants, all year round, that are gray so they look good and have pockets that are good, and a blue shirt that has a breast pocket thing. They also wear that K9, then at year 10 everyone gets white shirts when they still have better. I would also be quite happy in the absence of periods. They are not at all pleasant. Story 13. I'm gonna go out and get myself the most Karen of Karen haircuts. Then I'm going out to raise some just to see how much I can get away with. I'm just going to grab some poor random bastard in a store, go and fetch me the manager. But I don't work here, lady. I didn't ask you if you worked here, smart. I said go fetch me the goddamn manager, or I swear to Christ I will sick the homeowners association on your until plastic flamingos for a year. Story 14. To all the guys saying they'd debate. If you're like most women, you are probably about to find out how awesome multiple isms are. To all the guys saying they'd have sex, I hope your partner is a giving one. Otherwise, you're probably going to find out how frustrating it is getting close to completion only for your partner to finish without you. And also how creepy it can be to look for a partner if you don't have one already. Story 15. If my gender changed, then I'd cognitively be male. But unless my changes too, I'm just going to feel depressed because my gender stops matching my body. If I had a dude's body of equivalent fitness to mine now, I would do hella push-ups and chin-ups and generally see what the difference is in my physical abilities. I want to know just how far that testosterone goes. Also, if my body changes size proportionally, I'm above average height. Will I still be above average or just stay the same? Then I'm going to investigate what tallness is like. Also, I'm going to go and state my opinions like facts and see if it's true that people actually take dudes more seriously. Story 16. I panic because now all of my IDs and passports will now be different from myself, and I am stuck in a country which I do not have legal visa to stay in because my passport is no longer mine. I will be considered an alien, but the government cannot send me back. Perhaps by chance I will be in the news, reported as a time traveler, magic or some other kind or supernatural phenomenon that brought a human being onto this world. Worst case scenario, I would be locked up in an obscure lab where scientists would investigate the origins of me. Maybe they will find that my DNA is extremely similar to my past self and make a conclusion that defies science. I turned into the opposite gender. Or I would never to be seen again, with the scientists searching for longer and longer. My mental health will deteriorate and maybe... Best case is that I am left alone. Maybe reporters will flood me in the first few days, but the news will out, and I will finally be at peace, but with none of my past family or friends. But now, I'ma check out my brand new genitals. Story 17. Worry if my pets recognize me. Pee a message in the snow, in cursive. It may take all day, but that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Go shirtless. Get fitted for a nice suit. Be baffled about balls physics in pants. Find out if I can think of nothing for extended periods of time. See if I can take a sweater shirt off by grabbing from the back of the neck. Party hard at a gay bar and make lots of friends. Stay out as long as I want and not worry as much. Enjoy the boost of testosterone that makes lifting things easier. See if I look more like my brother. Find out if climbing things is easier. See if I can jump higher. Say f it and do the thing, because if you do something stupid once, it's because you're a guy. Try not to crush my nuts. Make recordings of some songs that desperately need a male version because they would sound better. If my voice isn't terrible, set fire to all of my bras. Story 18. Considering I'm currently on my period and having cramps from hell, I probably start by celebrating that is over a couple days early. Then immediately go see if my boyfriend had been similarly switched. If he has, have If he hasn't, masturbate and pray that tomorrow I wake up in my own body because certain frustrations aside, I'm a woman and don't want to be in a man's body. Also, if I'm stuck like that, my long-term relationship is over because my man isn't bi and that would break my heart. And I'd go for a run without have to double up on sports bras, and even go at night without bringing my pepper spray. That sounds fun. Story 19. Up as many as I can because it seems so easy. No job, no money, no prospects. No worry, some chick will take you in and complain about the patriarchy later. Someone? Chicks will write you in prison, offer to marry you, put money on your books, supply during visits. Life is too easy for most men and boys. And a lot of it has absolutely nothing to even do with the patriarchy. Story 20. Well, this is a tough one. As a pubescent boy, my first thought is masturbate, but if my was fully reversed, my mindset would be completely different. If I was a girl, I could have started puberty at an earlier or later date than when I did as a boy. Where if it was the latter, my view on masturbating could have immediately changed. If I felt like masturbating after I changed, I would do so. After that, I would begin to see what life is like as a girl. Saying that they all claim to be assaulted, harassed all the time. I would like to see this on my own firsthand, and as well as that, would also like to see how much I can manipulate horny guys with my body. So, yeah, I think I would turn into a bit of a but I won't go saying, if you do insert favor, I will suck your More like wrapping myself around their arm occasionally, seeing how far I can go. After maybe a week, I would probably want to go back to being a man, whether I am treated really nicely or treated like But before doing so, I would like to experience a period to know what it is truly like. Story 21. Squeal with joy. I would be so much happier. I may be male in real life, but that doesn't mean I like being male, not that I plan to transition in the future. I choose virility over identity, myself, but if my gender was reversed, I would be so much more happy. I could wear skirts, bright-colored clothing, and literally create life. I could be as compliment-heavy as I am and not get nearly as many awkward thank yous, and I could even look beautiful without getting stares for wearing makeup and having long hair. Story 22. I would love to see how much easier random tasks are. Opening a new bottle of mouthwash, moving large pieces of furniture, changing bedding, and reaching the top shelf at the supermarkets. Everything is set up for the average person, which naturally means that they're more difficult for the average woman due to biological differences. I would love to experience the differences in natural grip, wingspan, and height that gives men an advantage in these things. Story 23. Everyone is talking about the after. No one's considering that this transformation might be some American werewolf in London bull. Imagine your slowly receding into your pelvis and your taint ripping open. Or imagine your vag caving in and sealing shut, pushing all those nerves out the front like a goddamned push-pop. Guys having their guts pushed around to accommodate for the female reproductive system. Women feeling like they're going to blow their ovaries out of their ass. Not to mention all the muscular and hormonal repercussions. Yeah, no thanks. I'll stick with my junk. Story 24. Well, besides the more obvious masturbation everybody pointed out and excluding my sudden shock and terror and asking myself how and why, I think I would look in the mirror to check out if I'm hot and if I would bang myself. Then think about if the change changed my preferences too. If yes, that I would call a good friend to have just do experiments and have fun. If I'm still in the girls, I would call my lesbian friends I wish I could bang for years and do it with them. After that, I would approach my new body in a very experimental way, finding out if any of my tastes and interests like food and hobbies have changed, and why. That would be very curious, even if a little worried about the experimenting period for the first time, and with that hormonal changes and their effect on my character. I would basically take it as a chance to finally understand the differences between males and females in every aspect with this unique chance and read later about it and share my knowledge and experience with the world. I guess every doctor, psychologist would be hella interested in knowing. In the end, after this thinking, I believe I wouldn't even hate the change. It would be an experience so unique and special that I wouldn't mind losing my because at the end, that's the only thing I could regret. Besides maybe not being attracted anymore to many girls I like, but luckily they're still lesbians. And I guess that I've gotten carried away from the first thing, but who cares? It's a way more interesting topic than just masturbation. Story 25. Honestly, I would look to see if I could make myself handsome. I've always been someone with low self-esteem, and the fact that I identify as a woman, I feel like I should be beautiful. Or at least feel beautiful about myself. But instead, no matter what I try to do, to feel look beautiful, I never am. I'm never told by others if I look pretty or if I change up my appearance. I'm never noticed. Women are so beautiful, so pretty. Even those who stay natural, they are so pretty. Yet I can't be beautiful or pretty. I'd hope to at least be a little handsome if I became a guy. Story 26. Walk around barefoot in different places, like parks, malls, around my neighborhood, etc. It seems like this is more socially acceptable, at least where I live, for women to go barefoot than men, and I love walking around without shoes. For a woman it's seen as cute or sexy, and for men it's gross and weird. At least that's a perception. I do it sometimes, but I often get weird looks, especially if I'm by myself. So I usually stick to places where it's normal, unless I'm with a bunch of other people who don't have shoes on. Story 27. I would dress super and go out to a club and revel in all the members of the opposite who compliment me and want to have with me, because I've never experienced anything remotely like that. Then I would pick the lamest, dumbest pickup line possible and pick a random person out and have them with zero effort, because I've never experienced anything remotely like that. Then the next day I would go on social media and pretend to be complaining about how annoying it is that so many guys want to me and gave me compliments. But secretly I wouldn't be complaining. I'd be bragging. And tons of friends and strangers would chime in to agree with me and affirm what I said because I've never experienced anything remotely like that. There's a lot of other stuff, but that would be top of the list. Story 28. I'd probably just do a bunch of things once. I'd be a self-appointed finance and real estate development guru. I'd just rattle off a bunch of buzzwords to ensure that I seem competent. Then take a nap and wake up having been elected to the state legislature. All the while playing the guitar chords to Let It Be, so people know I'm not only important, but also soulful. My God, I can do everything as long as I set my mouth to it. Also, yeah, absolutely would masturbate immediately, just because it'd be so weird to have a Story 29. From a purely anthropological sense, a switch of gender via implies a lot more than just losing the donger and growing a vajubal. Since gender encompasses the cultural implications and expectations of being male-female, your life would probably change completely. Suddenly, some people would have a gut reaction to all of your hobbies, because you're a man-woman, and those are things for the other gender, for example. Another good example of gender in the scientific sense is being able to say, I'll go to the park, and people won't say, oh, you're being mom today.